Hi, Messianic Michael back with you, and today we're going to show how to make one of my favorite dishes, coconut drum. And the first thing you need to do to make coconut drum is get yourself a big drum or big redfish. And we found that prayer is very useful in our fishing success. Jesus said, which of you, if his son asked for a fish, would give him a snake? And he uses this in his teaching on prayer. So don't forget to pray before you go fishing.
So today we're going to make coconut drum, and it's really good. The flavors are reminiscent of coconut shrimp you might order at a restaurant. And if you are fortunate enough to have big drum and want a number of recipes, this is a great option. And these are larger pieces of meat that you would get from a larger piece of drum, and that's really not the way I want to work with it for this dish. So I'm going to go ahead and, in some dishes I've referred to as butterflying, so if I were going to butterfly it, I would do like this with a fillet knife and kind of flip it open like that. But today I just want some smaller pieces that are more manageable and that one could cut with a fork or potentially pick up with one's fingers, but I don't really prepare this to be a finger food per se. So that's just an example. And that one's kind of got some dark inside that I might go ahead and trim out just for better flavor, although the coating has enough flavor that it might not need more cleaning. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this with all of these pieces before the next step. And let me just give you a preview of what's going to happen next. The coating, or the breading, is going to be made up of about 1.5 cups of coconut, a sleeve of, in this case, Ritz crackers, it's okay to use generic, about a teaspoon of Tony's, and then I'm going to chop that up in my mini food processor here. You can smash them, you can use your big food processor. In the meantime, I'm going to take about 1/4 cup of oil and put it into a gallon bag after I get the fillets in the shape that I want them. So I'll just do this by way of example, and then I'll cut up the rest. We'll pour the oil in there. I might not need all of that. The recipe said 1/4 cup, but it looks like kind of a lot. I'll use that to coat all of the pieces of fish. Of course, there will be more when I get done here. And then, when the coating gets prepared, I'm going to go ahead and add that to the bag and shake it around, and that will be the initial coating on the pieces of fish. Then, it gets put into a baking dish in the oven at 400 degrees. We'll turn it halfway through. I'll show you that process in between. And then as a dipping sauce, when it's done, I'm going to combine some sugar-free orange marmalade. Doesn't have to be sugar-free, that was just my choice this time. And some hot sauce of your choice. And so it's a sweet and hot dipping sauce. To complement that, I didn't feel like cooking other vegetables today, but did kind of want a tropical scent. So I'm going to serve a green salad with cucumbers, fresh pineapple, feta cheese, and some avocado, which I'm going to wait to cut up until the last so it doesn't turn brown. So we're back, and what I've done here is to take the prepared pieces of drum with 2 tablespoons of that vegetable oil. I did not end up adding the rest. And then I took the coconut and the crackers and a teaspoon of Tony's and chopped them up in the food processor. I went ahead and added some Tony's to the oil as well, just because I did want a little bit of spice just closer to the fish itself. So then what we're going to do, there used to be a product called Shake and Bake I remember my mom using. I don't know if they have that anymore, but that's the idea here. So we're just going to go ahead and put in all of this. And you're like, wow, that's too much. I'll show you what we'll do with it. It is too much, but it's also useful, and I'll show you how. So we're going to go ahead and just shake that around. Work the pieces through. And then, in order to, I preheated the oven to 400 degrees. And I don't know if you can see, I just put about a teaspoon of oil in this glass pan that I'll go ahead and spread around. It really doesn't have to be much. If you prefer to spray with non-stick coating, that's fine. I'm kind of a minimalist when it comes to these things. Okay. So now I'm going to take some of the excess that's in here in a little measuring cup, and I'm going to sprinkle that across the bottom of the dish and let the coated pieces sit on that. So I don't get an ideal coating, maybe if I put a thicker coating on the fish itself to begin with to hold the coconut better. But I think this works out just fine between the process and the bacon. So I'm just going to lay these out, not touching each other, but they end up being fairly close. It's not like they expand or anything. I'm going to continue this process until they're ready to put in the oven. Okay, now I have the fish almost ready to put in the oven. This might look like more fish than I started with to you, but really it's not, I assure you. This is not a reproduction of the miracle of the loaves and fishes. We'll take some of the extra coating. This is probably enough for 4 people. There's just 2 of us eating tonight, so I will mention this is one dish that I don't mind eating the next day. Some fish dishes, you know, just really aren't very good the next day, but this one I do like. Okay, so I've sprinkled some of that coating. About halfway through the cooking time, I'm going to take this out of the oven, flip each piece with tongs, and then add some more of that rest of that coating. I'm going to leave the light on in the oven so I can watch it and make sure that it's browning nicely but doesn't get away from me. Okay, so this just spent 12 minutes in the oven. I don't know if you can tell it's starting to get a little bit brown, but it doesn't look exactly done, which is correct. And so I'm going to flip these over gently with tongs. That just helps it get crispy all the way around instead of being soggy on one side or the other. We are going for crispy without frying in a lot of oil. So I'm going to do that all the way across, and then I'm going to take some of the remainder of the coating that we had left and just go ahead and give it another sprinkle, maybe not as heavy, but again that helps keep it crispy. And I'll let you know about how long it takes to finish up the rest of this. Okay, the coconut drum is done. I gave it another 7 minutes on that second side, so it was 12 minutes for the first side. I flipped them over. I did get them all. Put a little more coconut topping on it, let it cook for another 7 minutes, and voila. And then I went ahead and trimmed the avocado, put that on the salad, and we're ready to eat. Thank you, Lord, for sharing your fish with us.